It's the best of Brainiac Bowl 31, episode 54.
It's the Brainiac Top 10 and 10. Here's the owner of Brainiac Trivia, John Boyce, and his favorite 10 questions of the week.
Hope this podcast finds you well. Over the weekend, I hosted Brainiac Bowl 31. Now, before we hop into the questions, I'll explain what the Brainiac Bowl is. I host 2 games nightly, 5 nights a week, where a lot of teams will kind of come and go. However, those teams that are really competitive and really enjoy the game, they accumulate season points. And every 3 months, the top 4 teams from each of the 5 locations, as well as 4 wildcard teams, will advance to play against each other in the championship in something I've dubbed the Brainiac Bowl. Now, this past weekend, I hosted Brainiac Bowl 31. 177 people competed on 24 different teams. Now, if you step back a little bit, over the course of that 3 months, nearly 4,000 people on nearly 100 teams competed. So these 24 teams are the best of them. So I have to challenge them. So the questions you're about to hear are probably going to be pretty difficult. But if you do pretty good, then you know you can compete with the best of the Brainiac Trivia League, and you should come out and see if you can challenge some of them. Let's get to it.
Number 10.
Our number 10 in the podcast was actually our final question of the Brainiac Bowl. Animals in nature. What is the name of the much more accurate scale that was created in 1979 to measure earthquakes that most meteorologists use today, but they still call it the Richter scale, not to confuse viewers? What is the name of the much more accurate scale that was created in 1979 to measure earthquakes that most meteorologists use today, but they still call it the Richter scale so that we don't get confused? They call it the moment magnitude. This was the very last question of the Brainiac Bowl. It was worth 100 points. Not a single team got it right. I would have had no shot at getting this right. It also kind of shows you how stuck in our ways we are.
Number 9.
Number 9 will take us to geography. Among other nicknames, what southern state is called the Old North State? Among other nicknames, what southern state is called the Old North State? The Old North State is North Carolina, naturally. This was asked as a face-off question. So 4 teams get into the face-off at the Brainiac Bowl, and one by one, they each got it wrong.
Number 8.
History at number 8.
It's a mystery.
A hero of the Mexican War. Who was the first president elected that had no prior political experience? That means he never held an elected position. Hero of the Mexican War, who was the first president elected that had no prior political experience. Again, meaning he had never held an elected position. Zachary Taylor.
Number 7.
Arts and literature at number 7. What Irish author's last published poem was released under the pseudonym C33, his prison cell number? What Irish author's last published poem was released under the pseudonym C33, which is his prison cell number? C33, that was Oscar Wilde's prison cell number.
Number 6.
Sports at number 6. Only 5 players have ever won Major League Baseball All-Star MVP twice. Of those 5, who had the longest gap between winning at 10 years? So once again, only 5 players have ever won Major League Baseball All-Star MVP twice. Of those 5, which one had the longest gap between winning at 10 years? Winning in 91 and again in 2001, Cal Ripken Jr. I had a team that put Cal Ripken Sr. and my heart broke for him.
Number 5.
At number 5, geography. In what state can you find the highest paved road in America? In what state can you find the highest paved road in America? 14,266 at its highest, Colorado.
Number 4.
Leisure for number 4. Based on a computer simulation of 32 billion rolls, which takes into account all the rules of the game. Based on probability, the single most landed on space in Monopoly is what non-property space? Based on a computer simulation of 32 billion rolls, which takes into account all the rules of the game. Based on probability, the single most landed on space in Monopoly is what non-property space? Again, I broke some hearts on this one. It is jail/just visiting. I had numerous teams that put go to jail, not the correct answer. It's jail/just visiting.
Number 3.
Fact or crap at number 3. After Scarlett Johansson's first appearance as Black Widow, she accepted a $10 million deal from Playboy to pose topless with the Black Widow suit, but it only fell through once Marvel stepped in. Fact or crap. After Scarlett Johansson's first appearance as Black Widow, she accepted a $10 million deal from Playboy to pose topless with the Black Widow suit, but it only fell through once Marvel stepped in. Unfortunately, not a word of that is true, but I'd pay good money for it.
Number 2.
All right, our top 2 questions of Brainiac Bowl 31. History at number 2. Before being sent to Paris, what country passed on the Eiffel Tower after some 300 prominent intellectuals and artists publicly declared it was an eyesore that would ruin the atmosphere of the city it was to be erected in? Before being sent to Paris, what country passed on the Eiffel Tower after some 300 prominent intellectuals and artists publicly declared it was an eyesore that would ruin the atmosphere of the city that it was to be erected in? So again, looking for the country, not the city. So the Eiffel Tower was originally to go to Barcelona, Spain. But yeah, the intellectuals and artists were like, that's going to look tacky.
Number 1.
All right, my favorite question of Brainiac Bowl 31, and I do not think anybody got this one right. Music is the category. The last band to film a music video and perform on top of the World Trade Center did so in the year 2000. The band won an MTV Award for Best Rock Video for the video just days before the 9/11 attacks. What band is it? The last band to film a music video and perform on top of the World Trade Center did so in the year 2000. This band won an MTV Award for Best Rock Video for the video just days before the 9/11 attacks. What band is it? Don't have to give me the song, just looking for the band. Believe it or not, the last band to film or perform on top of the World Trade Center was Limp Bizkit, filming the video Rollin'. Parts of the music video were filmed in September 2000 atop the South Tower of the original World Trade Center in New York City. The introduction of the video actually features Ben Stiller mistaking lead singer Fred Durst for the parking valet and giving him the keys to his Bentley. The rest of the video has several cuts to Durst and his bandmates hanging out in the Bentley as they drive around Manhattan, and scenes of them playing on top of the tower. The Rollin' video received the award for Best Rock Video at the 2001 MTV Video Music Awards. On September 10th, just the day before the attacks, Limp Bizkit received a letter and a fruit basket from the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, thanking them for featuring the Twin Towers in the video and congratulating the band after the video won the VMA for Best Rock Video. Years later, in an interview, Durst said, "After 9/11, everyone stopped playing it. Nobody wanted to see it, and neither did we." I am not ashamed to say that at one point in my life, I was a massive Limp Bizkit fan. I definitely listened to that song and most of their other albums, and I'll still go on record. Their first album, $3 Bill, really, really good. So like I said at the beginning, Brainiac Bowl 31 was held over the weekend. We had 177 players on 24 of the best teams over the last 3 months. As you can tell, these questions are not easy. Just qualifying for the bowl is a huge accomplishment, but finishing in the top 10 is almost impossible. So at Brainiac Bowl 31, here were your top 10. We finished with a tie for 9th, the Alcoholic Homies with 460 points, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles also with 460. Impressively, that was the Alcoholic Homies' first ever Brainiac Bowl. In 8th place was the Thrill of Middle Management with 485 points. In 7th, the Periodic Table Dancers with 490 points. In 6th place, Wish You Were Beer with 500 points. In 5th place, Booty Sweat with 510. In 4th place, Tequila Mockingbird with 555. And in your top 3, Bang a Therapist for 500 with 585. Second place was Bet on Black with 600, and in first place, winning their 3rd Brainiac Bowl, the Killer Queens had 640 points. Second, third, and fourth all had a shot to leapfrog above the Queens and win this thing if they would have got the final question right. Maybe the most impressive thing was Tequila Mockingbird finishing in 4th place with 555 points because they started the game with 0 points. See, if you finish in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd at your individual location, you go into the game with some points. A 1st place team gets 50 points, a 2nd place team gets 25, and a 3rd place team gets 10. This is my version of seeding. I feel if you do that well over the course of 3 months, you deserve to have some sort of advantage when you go into the championship. All 3 teams that finished above Tequila were a 1st place team. So if you remove those 50 points, Tequila Mockingbird actually finishes in 2nd place. That's it, my favorite 10 questions from Brainiac Bowl 31. What a fun night it was. I'm so grateful for everybody that made it out. We're already working towards Brainiac Bowl 32. We'll get you more details on that as they come out. As always, guys, thank you for listening. I'm John Boyce, and this has been the Brainiac Trivia Top 10 in 10.